please.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Sri. Thanks, IEEE, for this great event. I haven't been here for 5 years. I used to in Redmond, Washington from 1995 to year 2000. I came here to join McCaw Cellular. Some of you may remember the company. Eventually became AT&T Wireless. I started my career building mobile data protocols, and then came in for a project called Project Angel. I think my colleague Titus Lee's here, Titus Lowe, sorry, is here, and he can attest to the amazing experience of those years, building the cornerstone of 3G technology, then 4G and 5G. What we worked on at that time was something called Project Angel. The core of the technology was OFDM MIMO, and it became the fundamental technology for 4G, then 5G, and still in 6G. But in the last 10 years, I've been focused on something else. And some people wonder, what does a communication technologist do doing AI? So today I wanted to talk to you about this device-first continuum AI, which has been the work of my last decade with my partner, Faye Arjumandi, founder and CEO of Mimic, and our team, who are mostly based in Vancouver, BC, and in Oakland, California. First, I always start with saying that we're witnessing a historic transformation that is the result of convergence of various technologies around the same time. I don't think any of us has experienced this in our lifetimes. The closest would be the first industrial revolution with the convergence of electricity, communication, and the steam engine. And now we are seeing AI, energy storage, robotics, long-reach sequencing, embedded computing, many more technologies that have reached maturity around the same time. So it's really unpredictable what kind of transformation we'll see, but it's going to be even bigger than the first industrial revolution. From a personal journey for myself, I came as a communication technologist trying to break the channel limits. We managed to do that. We got very close to channel limits today. And I felt that by around 2010, after I had worked really hard on Wi-Fi, WiMAX, and WiGig, WiMAX became the core of OFDM MIMO that was invented in Redmond, Washington during those years that I was here. And then the telcos at that time were trying to kill the technology, saying Wi-Fi is a toy, 3G will kill it, then they say 4G will kill it, then they say 5G will kill it, and you'll see today that up to 90% of the traffic of world wireless is carried over Wi-Fi, right? And then between 2010 and 2014, I was at Vodafone, and I had a great awakening at that time, thanks to Faye's insight. She was working at that time in Vodafone's labs and was seeing what social media was doing to the traffic, that most of the traffic was now coming on the uplink. People were generating data. It wasn't about browsing content anymore. We had become content generators. We realized that the mobile internet and cloud computing will reach its maturity, and it won't be able to handle the amount of traffic that was there. And so dedicated the next 10 years on building a new architecture, called it Hybrid Edge Cloud. In 2022, published a paper in IEEE Communication Magazine, Hybrid Edge Cloud, a pragmatic approach for decentralized cloud computing. When we started this project, no VCs were willing to fund this because this was the heydays of the cloud, and some crazy people have come and say cloud will not scale. And so we funded it by ourselves, by visionary people like Cathy Wood of ARK Invest, Alan Salmassi, president of Wireless at Qualcomm, Ori Sassoon from Primera Capital, and other people that were visionaries in their field. And now as Wi-Fi and fiber-enabled mobile internet, we think that hybrid edge cloud and DFC AI will enable agentic AI. And why is that? We heard today a lot of talk about the limitations of bandwidth and compute requirements to get to the next generation of AI. Not much talk about the amount of bandwidth that actually is required to bring this vision forward. If you look at the total capacity of entire wired and wireless networks, is around 1.4 million petabytes. And this amount of capacity could only support, if everything was to happen in the cloud, would only support less than 1 million autonomous vehicles and less than 20 million robots. And people are talking about tens of billions of agents. In other words, just the bandwidth, let's forget about the compute capacity. Compute capacity, I think today was today or yesterday that CEO of IBM came out and said, you're dreaming if you think we're going to put $8 trillion, which is more money that the entire semiconductor industry in its lifetime has made to build data centers to make AI happen, right? But the bandwidth required is thousands of times of both networks and cloud computing capacity that we have available. So we need a new architecture. And that new architecture is something that people have been working, and then some came up with this idea of edge compute, which is a great irony again. Industry's pushing now more boxes, and we call it edge compute. Meanwhile, we have 15 billion phones with 90% idle CPU. Your laptops, 95% of the time, are unused. And every smart device, which is a potential AI node, is sitting dormant. And yet we're talking about trillions of dollars of investment in additional infrastructure. This was a realization that we got to, and we got to the conclusion that we don't need, we may need more infrastructure, but before we add more infrastructure, we must use what we already have. And edge devices, not network edge, are the solution. Our end devices are where the context lives. Our cell phones, our smartphones, are much more aware of the context that we have. We don't need to send it to the cloud or an edge gateway. And at billion device scale, then this concept of orchestration, which was part of the mobile internet era, no longer makes sense, right? Because in the mobile internet era, in order to make it cheap for developers to build apps, we put all the intelligence in the cloud, and then we started orchestrating workflows to these dumb devices. But that no longer works, because that model is only good for rigid and predictable workflows. Devices basically execute instructions from a central place. Workflows assume stable environments. You know, putting something into your shopping cart and paying for it is much more predictable. But in the era of automation, this is not possible. You can't, you saw the robot had to deal with all the situations that were unpredictable. This couldn't have been orchestrated. And you saw how difficult it was for the robot to even be able to choreograph these things. So the future is about choreography. It's not about orchestration. So rigid workflows will continue to have orchestration, but intelligent environments need choreography. So that means a complete new architecture. And also, when you have now billions of devices choreographing, it's not about just machines and machines working with each other, because these machines have to work with humans. So the future is about mimicking human behavior on these devices. What does that mean? It means just like us, we have autonomy. We're not fully autonomous. We need each other, right? But we can do most things on our own, and when we need help, we go and get that help. And that help could be the cloud, that could be an edge node, but the device itself needs to have proper autonomy. It should have awareness. It should be able to discover, like human beings, all other nodes around it, be able to collaborate with them and coordinate with central control, and it needs to have continued learning. It's not about replacing humans, but working alongside of us. And in order to do that, you've got to make every end device into a first-class citizen. So if you look at the traditional versus intelligent end devices, instead of sending data to the cloud, you process everything as much as possible locally. You don't wait for commands, you make decisions, you host multiple agents, you're gracefully autonomous, meaning you do most things autonomously, and then you're serverless. You're on only when needed. Otherwise, the energy required would be immense. That's one of the wonders of human nervous system, that we're not constantly, our brain, the nervous system works only based on its need. So the technical journey for us to address this and how we built this device-first intelligence came up with fundamental challenges. We had to enable serverless microservice runtime for our end devices, make them independent of networks and operating systems. The IEEE president can tell you how many years it takes to make standards. And if you want to make workflows depending on the network standards on their own, then you're creating dependencies that is going to choke innovation. So everything had to be above the operating system, above the networks. Enable heterogeneous collaboration across multiple standards, multiple devices, multiple vendors. Create zero configuration discovery so that we can update systems without having to spend millions of dollars revamping, reconfiguring IT systems. Enable autonomous agent execution, and then maintain global learning without any central control. In other words, we had to create a distributed, trusted, trustless hybrid cloud platform. So the principles of this, which is in that IEEE communication paper, is that you need on-device runtime environment, you need on-device API gateway. API gateways currently sit in the cloud or on edge gateways, but it needs to be in every device. You have to have node discovery, just like humans discovering each other. You should be able to cluster and collaborate. You should have microservice discovery and communication tunneling so that you can share, agents can share learning and abilities with each other. Microservices are actually functions that you learn. So one robot should be able to teach another robot. A human should be able to teach a robot. AI and context awareness, device choreography, and most importantly, zero trust security, because now when you start providing intelligence to billions and billions of devices, you don't want to do perimeter security. This is not about firewalls. Every node has to be trustable, authenticated. Communication needs to be encrypted. And of course, it has to be on any network, any device, any cloud, any OS, and any orchestration. So to kind of give you a view of what this looks like on end devices, in the era of mobile internet, you had the application running with the client agent on a phone, say, or a robot. It can be a drone. And then you have the API gateway and microservices running in the cloud. Now, what we did, we made it so that you can actually run these, both have the API gateway and microservices run on any device, on any operating system, right? So it's a very simple architectural drawing, but a very tough thing to do. It took us 10 years to complete that. And then, so that was hybrid edge cloud. So what is device first continuum AI? It's built on that premise, but it has also distributed microservices for local AI execution. It has MCP, Model Context Protocol Server. It has a RAG capability, and it has service discovery. So that's what the FCAI is. It's built on top of the hybrid edge cloud. But most importantly, this is something that is going to transform the economy from SaaS to CaaS. SaaS will be a dead concept. Knowledge as a service is going to replace it, because now every node has a capability. So you basically don't have these siloed apps. Every node has a capability to run workflows, to be able to learn, to be able to have knowledge, and then be able to trade that knowledge with other nodes, right? And so there's going to be knowledge as a service versus software as a service. This will become a new economic reality. Every device becomes a revenue generator. There's zero marginal cost distribution, and it's completely privacy preserving, right? This is absolutely essential if we're going to have a sustainable agentic economy, because otherwise our roles as human beings is so limited. Our data is the fuel that is going to run it. If we give it to the data brokers like we do today, we have nothing. We have no asset left to us. Business transformation, we're going to go from subscriptions to pay per insight, from vendor locking to agent portability, from data hoarding to knowledge federation, and from platform monopolies to peer-to-peer markets. That's the promise that it's there. And it's absolutely essential from all aspects, whether from regulatory policies to architectural choices that we make, is absolutely essential. That will enable every person to become an entrepreneur, every device become a profit center, and every agent creating value 24/7. The path forward in the current state, we're seeing millions of AI agents today. Companies have announced that they're going to have 1 billion agents this year in 2025. Then we're going to have some early multi-agent coordination. But in near term, we're going to have billions of these specialized agents. And eventually, each one of us, we're going to have a financial advisor as an agent that knows us. We're going to have a health advisor. We're going to go for exercise, for music. Each one of us, just like we have tens of apps, we're going to have hundreds of agents that know us, and they have deep memory of our actions, not like LLMs. So in the long term, we're going to have these 10 to 100, some people say up to 10,000 agents per person. And this is really not just a technical architecture, it is a philosophical shift from centralized control, orchestrating every action, efficiency through uniformity, and scale through bigger infrastructure to a completely new paradigm, which is distributing for resilience, choreograph behavior, and efficiency through adaptation, and a scale through existing resources. Again, not a technical architecture, but a philosophical shift. So to conclude, really believe that this is an essential architecture for the agentic world. Just like when we said that Wi-Fi is absolutely essential, my message to you today is that this device-first continuum AI is absolutely essential if we're going to scale agentic AI in a sustainable way. Cloud native cannot scale for this agentic era. Choreography becomes essential in this dynamic world. Knowledge becomes liquid, contextual, and immediately actionable, and every device becomes a learning entity, able to follow, observe, respond, and adapt to deliver a privacy-preserving collective intelligence. In other words, every device becomes a mind, every human becomes a node, and hopefully we'll see a sustainable agentic future following this architecture. Thank you very much.
We're gonna have to switch.
Okay, I'm going to.
Sorry, Sheree.
You use yours, okay. Yeah. It's really my pleasure to introduce Krishna Kumar Parasarasi. And okay. Hello? Yes. It's my great pleasure to introduce Krishna Kumar Parasarasi. He's Microsoft corporate VPs on cybersecurity. And he is also Microsoft AI first security platform that unify data, intelligence, and automation across the enterprise. So he is the chief, and we are looking forward to hear what he can tell us.
Okay, my mission decided to boot, so that's a good start for the session. So thank you all for having me here, and it has been a great honor to talk to all of you. I'm Krishna. I lead the cybersecurity division, which is the core of AI-centric platform for Microsoft. And I am largely on, give me 1 second, let me get everything going here. Okay. 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 I might need some help here. Let's see. Just a few more minutes and we should be good. It's public, I just made it.
And do you have any videos or anything? My greatest apologies.
Good. Cool. Excuse me. It lost bunch of animations. I think it converted to PDF.
Yeah, okay. We can try it in here.
Yeah.
There's a chance some of the slides won't. We've been running into issues all day.
Perfect. Okay, finally we are back. Sorry for all the technical difficulties, but by the way, I'm Krishna. I lead the what I call that as a Sentinel platform, which is a cybersecurity division's platform for Microsoft's and all up for threat detections and things like that. So just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I've been at Microsoft a little over 27 years, and I've been on many journey of innovations. But this one is phenomenal amount of work that is happening that has not been seen before. What we see in terms of threats and cybersecurity and AI and everything combined. So while a lot of you have heard from other speakers, they talked about hope and innovations. I'm going to come and talk about attacks and chaos and existential dread. Welcome to the cybersecurity. That whole thing is going to say, I'm not going to say, okay, this is a doomsday, there is a happy day at the end, so we will walk through that, how that is going to look like. So with that, let me start. How many of you have received this email in your inbox? Okay, so that's good. How many of you have seen a deepfake video or some CFO asking for money? And okay, so there is one more person there. Okay, there is a second person. And there is a third one. How many of you have seen asking for login pages that says that, hey, somebody is asking you for a password, but if you look at the URL, that's really not the URL that you are going to talk about, and that is basically, at the end of the day, okay. I'm still learning the tech here, but it starts with the fake login page, but at the end, it lost all of, basically everything starts with the fake login page or things like that, and then ended up into the global breach. And in terms of the cybersecurity, if you look at the last year defense report that Microsoft has published, the scale and the speed in which the threat has been happening has been continuously going down. That means it's getting better and better. That means we need to get better in terms of detections. The current phishing email to actual attack is around 72 minutes. That is nothing in any campaigns. If a campaign is there for 15 minutes in an email, the breach has already happened for you. And in terms of the scale, I have to say that you have, in 2023, we saw around 3,000 password spray attack in a second, to somewhere between less than a second, you get around 7,000 password spray attack, which means 30 billion password spray attack in a month is what you see on our network, and that is what we see on a constant basis. And then if you look at it, the scale and the sophistication of attacks is continuously increasing. And last year at Microsoft itself, there were a whole bunch of nation-state attacks. If any of you is at Microsoft, you would have seen amount of work that you have to do. And there is so much of nation-state attacks, and the sophistication of each of the attackers that are happening is continuously increasing, which used to be 300 in terms of the quality of the attackers that we measure, to 1,500 in 2024, and that has gone even further up when we get the 2025 reports. Just this year, some of the major attacks that you would have seen, which is Jaguar Land Rover, which has lost around 1.9 billion pounds. And there is the AI agentic first attack that happened, that is Ubit, or other set of attacks. That's just to show that the attacks are constant and more are happening, and the impact of that is, I don't know why certain slides don't show up. Okay. Okay, I'll read this slide through for a second. I apologize for any of the technical difficulties from my PowerPoint. By the way, in 2003, the cybercrime costed around $3.5 billion in the market. And at 2025, we expect it to be $10.4 trillion in the overall revenue in terms of the cost that has happened. And we expect by 2031, which is close to $13 trillion in terms of the overall expense that it would happen because of the cybercrime. And guess how much of it is equivalent to this will become the third largest economy all up in terms of the overall cybercrime that is happening actually. So with that, these are all based off of, okay, I am thinking, I hope I can see the, okay, good. So the overall, whatever I have talked about, this is all about what we know in the agentic AI era before. And the AI is changing the game in terms of the overall, okay, anytime there is a graph, I'm not able to get anything in the PowerPoint here, but I will talk through that a little bit. The AI economics has collapsed in the last 3 years. I want to be very clear, AI economics is collapsed in the last 3 years which means a million token over time, which was around somewhere around $12. Right now it is almost close to almost at a pennies in terms of what we do. So what does that even mean? That what was not affordable to make is becoming super affordable, and that is what is changing in the AI. And why is that changing is because few variations, at least what we see is the mixture of experts is changing. Only the right experts activate, which means that if you have OpenAI or Gemini or Anthropic, you might have a whole bunch of experts in the model, but you don't actually expand on all of them. And in many cases, like say for example, I have 400 billion parameters in a model, you normally only going to in terms of a token that is going to use it is around between 20 to 30 billion. That means your cost has gone down significantly from 3 to 10x in terms of getting the cost equation going up. And then in terms of the next one is, when we started it all, everything was in the GPU. The memory is all in the GPU, but with KV, kind of key value cache paging, the memory scales without limits. So that means that I don't need to keep all of them in the GPU RAM and the memory in it, so we can scale it out with the other key value stores that are there. So you are able to scale mostly on the SSD or on the CPU, but you don't need to keep expanding on the number of GPUs that you need to have. And then the next part of it is the linear and the hybrid attention that is happening, that you don't need to have, like when a particular context is coming or when a particular token is coming, you don't need to compare like every word to every word in a document. So what you do is you basically create a summary kind of a thing, and then you look around that, and that also increases the overall performance of those systems. And then the external memory models, and finally, that there are specialized hardwares. The GPUs have gotten better over a period of time. Pretty much the token has dropped to the cents in terms of doing it. The reasoning stopped being a burst, and then the reasoning has become in terms of the stream. That is really taking the economics of scale, what is feasible with AI today, and especially in the agentic era. And the next part of it is token per dollar expansion has completely changed the whole dynamics as well. And by the way, this is yet another graph. Assume that there is a graph that is there. And there were almost like 0.1 million tokens per dollar. That was in around 2022. We are at 2026, somewhere between 3 million to 10 million tokens per dollar. And that is the economics where we are going with. What does that even mean in the world of security? Think about it that I have a telemetry that is there for a month of telemetry. In order to do an analysis, it takes like months and months of analysis of collecting the logs and looking at it. I would be able to collect all of them to be able to reason over, and that becomes easier for me whenever the token economics goes down as well. So you saw that even without agentic AI era, you saw that the market, how it is the third biggest economics. AI is changing the game in terms of what's the compute is, what is the overall availability of the systems are, and everything is kind of improving. In 6 years, actually like from early part of it to 2025, 2016 to 2025, we were like reading a sentence per dollar to the entire book is how much we have come about in a dollar in terms of going through this. And then finally, we all have come from chatbots to, okay, good. So where we were is, okay, there is a tokens. We started off with to a memory, then to the reasoning, to the agents. We are all going towards the agentic era, and a lot of you are talked about it in the past, like, hey, everybody is talking about how do we become agentic, AI, and everything. And I'm basing my entire conversation on one thing, that how a threat actor and adversary is going to leverage the entirety of AI, and how is this an existential threat to the entire digital estate, and how are we going to kind of defend on top of it. So, okay. So, okay, I had an image here which basically shows that there is the first reported, I don't know how many of you have seen Anthropic's November, I think somewhere between September or November, there was the first espionage threat that has been reported, and that was fully agentic AI, leveraging the systems on top of it. That is the beginning. And while we might have seen all of them to say, okay, there were manual threat actors that are calling through the phone, pretending to be a CFO, asking for money, to using the tools to do a password spray attack, to AI-based agents to exfiltrate into the system, to fully autonomous system. That has finally arrived to be able to get to. And I hope this slide comes up. This is what the evolution of our threat actors are, where we started off with the human threat actors who uses a bunch of tools, and then from the augmentation to say that, okay, I have a whole bunch of tools that, okay, I can recon using a certain tools, and then I'll do the exfiltration, and then I continue to learn through it, to finally now it is getting into a fully autonomous and agentic, and we have the proof now. At least when I started 18 months ago on the AI platform, we said it is going to take 18 to 24 months to get a first agentic AI attack, and we were like in 6 months we got the first one. So the speed in which the attackers and the infrastructure is improving and the attackers are leveraging on it, it is also continuously improving as well. Okay. So now that you have seen there is all of these agents and all of the attacks that are happening, how AI era is changing the industry and the cost economics is making it easier, and how it is changing the whole thing to be agentic. I just want to talk about that. There are 4 or 5 things that are critical. Okay. So the first ones are malicious LLMs are now a distinct class of threat, which means that models are now intentionally fine-tuned for offensive cyber use and built without ethical guardrails. And there are many, many, many underground forums for phishing and malware and reconnaissance and lateral movement and ransomware. And then, for example, things like Worm GPT-4. And these are all available in the market to be able to stage an attack in the market. The other part is, in the past, AI, pre-AI part of it, the threat actor has to spend hours and hours together to stitch the entire digital estate in order to know where to go and attack. The barrier is very high. Even think about it, the barrier to become a software engineer is equivalent to the barrier to become a threat actor, where somebody has to learn it, they have to build the tools, they have to build a set of intrusion things, and to be able to go and take a particular asset in a given organization, you have to work extremely hard in order to do that. And to generate a phishing email that doesn't caught in the filtering systems got harder and harder in the manual effort. All of that has changed with LLMs, where I have a phishing email that gets caught, then I can immediately send hundreds and hundreds of new variations of the same phishing emails, and your 0 day becomes much more like, it's not day, 0 seconds and 0 nanoseconds amount of work that is happening there actually. And then the attack lifecycle is also compressing. Like in the past, I think, I don't know how many of you have seen the recent attack in F5, which took 2 years, and in terms of the amount of times that they were even in the system was for 2 years. And even for the Microsoft's one, which took 18 months, somebody who kind of attacks, who kind of go dormant, and then they do after a while to do a lateral movement, and then be able to exfiltrate the data. And those things becomes even faster. You don't need to do all of that because you already have enough information to be able to do the attack. And everything that defensive systems has in the past, the defense had enough resources, enough systems, enough hardwares, and enough kind of knowledge to be able to do the defense systems. The offensive now have the same level of systems with LLMs and AI and agentic system, so they can simulate even the same amount of attacks than what the defenders can do with it, actually. And then the commercialization of the cybercrime is becoming much, much, much more lucrative business. And this is where I just talked about the worm GPT-4, and then there are other worms that I'm seeing with Kawaii GPT, and even people have taken the open source model with Quen or Quen, whichever the same model that people have in the open source market, and then they customize it to build the attacks in the market. So, and this part, I wish this works, hopefully. The threat actors are no longer just people. In the past, we think there is a threat actor that is sitting there, or there is a tools that is operated by a threat actor. Threat actors are no longer be the human behind it. There are agents. And LLMs that's generated, it polymorphic to it, and then there is an automated recon to an exploit to an exfiltration loop. And then as much as we do to reinforcement learning to improve our model, improve our detections, the threat actors are also doing the same thing. They are phenomenally good at it to say that, okay, I am seeing this, I see this port open, I went there, it got blocked now, then it knows which port else to go to. And why? Because all of us as a defenders, and I don't know how many of you are defender practitioners in this crowd here, if you are a defender today, I want to debug if there is a threat in the system, I look at the telemetry logs. And the way we do that telemetry logs is you would grab the logs, or you do the hunting, we call in the cybersecurity space, you call it as threat hunting. Is a continuous effort, you continue to hunt on the data. And we hunt on a relational data. If you look at the attackers have a phenomenal graph of your entire digital estate, better than even you have in your company. And this wasn't evident when we had an incident last year when customers or anybody who come in, and we talk to many of them, they say that, oh, I don't know how many virtual machines in my company or how many of these databases deployed in it. The threat actors know, because they have an access through the network. They come from outside and they scan through every ports in your IP ranges, and they are able to see it. It's completely, they have automated it even before. Now think about it from that automation. That automation can reason over to move laterally and then figure out what kind of breach that you can do in that organization. The graph provides you, so they have a full graph of the entire digital estate. And then each one of them is doing lateral movements and everything that comes with it. So with that, you have seen that already the cybersecurity is a big, big, big threat, and the AI economics have gone down significantly, where threat actors now have a strongest tool that they ever had. And then finally now it has arrived that AI has changed the battlefield, so we have to change our battlefield as well. We pretty much have to be like, this is like, I give this analogy, some might like it, some might not like it. If you take it from a cyberspace to a kinetic warfield, you have, say, $7 million missile or any of that you work with, and that was a traditional world, and then suddenly you have thousands and thousands of cheaper drones that you are fighting with. And if that is the case, then you are not going to fight with one $7 million missile on a constant basis. You need something more similar to the drone that got into the attack. You need to get into the same state as well. So this is a very simple diagram. I was thinking, how do I explain this? And then I was thinking the most easiest way to explain that is agent threat actor is like a fire in a house. That means that it is self-propagating, it is fastly moving, you have unattended ones started. You cannot stop them, there is nobody to stop them, you cannot catch anybody in there. That is the part of the offensive part of the agents. And the agentic defense is like our sprinkler system. It's not an insurance. Cybersecurity is not an insurance. If anybody have talked about it, it's an insurance. It is not. You have to continuously monitor them. You have to make an automatic decisions and make it so that you protect your systems with it. So that means somebody has to continuously monitor and work through that. So this is where the defenders need to get agentic as well. That means you are always on as an AI helper, and there is no option. Think about it, that there is, at a machine speed, the attackers are working. It is no longer that the human alone can be able to support and be able to defend. We all work 9 to 5, and there might be another shift of 9 to 5. There is no human on the other side to work. They are working 24/7, continuously to be able to attack. You need to have a supporting tool, that is the agentic AI, to be able to work through. And this is the happy part. That is where the industry is heading into. While you saw all the doomsday of like there is so much of attacks that is happening now through the agents. And the AI agents, the same way the attackers building the entire digital map, you also need to have the same way of understanding your entire digital map and be able to automatically pen test the systems. There are many open source tools have come up to be able to pen test or ability to simulate an attack, so you continuously evaluate your systems actually. And then AI that reduces the noise where human only were able to see it, and then it also makes the rules decisions easier. It understands your corporate rules. It understands everything that you need to do. And then AI basically automatically investigate and analyzes it. In some sense, I don't know how many of you know between the red team and the blue team. There is the red team in an organization which continuously try to simulate an attack and constantly do the attack. And the blue team is basically mitigating the attack and be able to analyze the attacks. And that entire chain needs to be automated and completely running on its own. And this is where, finally, this is not a sales pitch deck. Up to this point, I just want to be very, very clear that this is the place where the industry is changing with the AI. The threat actors are evolving to be agentic AI, and the defender has to become. And Microsoft, as part of its work, we are doing the work also as a Sentinel platform, which is part of what I lead. We lead to say that we work together to say, the first and foremost, we want to see what you haven't been able to see. I kind of simplified the whole thing. And this analogy helped a lot. Let's say you are a defender of Seattle, and if you think half of your Seattle is dark, you cannot know who is moving where, and you need to get all of that data in one place so that you need to know what is happening. The same way the Seattle need to be lighted up to be able to know what is going on. Same thing. You cannot go and detect something without having all the data, so you need to bring all the data in. And the second part of it is, once you have all the data, you need to be able to connect and reason over it. Previous session, I think they talked about the knowledge is the new system, the connecting the dots together as a graph, and the knowledge graphs that we build. That is what is all about it, is connecting the graphs together, and then finally make the data available for the agentic and the AI platform. So that every agent can operate it, whether it is the red agent or the blue agents and everything that comes with it. And this is kind of the architectural part of that system. And I'm not going to touch on it, but you can clearly see that that entire platform is continuously seeing. It analyzes, when I say think, It continuously thinking what is the reasoning over it, and then act, and then learn. So it's a continuous loop of what is happening in the overall environment. I talked about what you haven't been able to see, that is the data plane. And then the Sentinel graph is the complete knowledge graph of your entire digital estate. We have done quite a bit of work to analyze blast radius. If a particular user might get compromised, what is the blast radius? What is the kind of, I give this analogy to say that people to know, when you have a Chicago airport and Spokane airport, not even though they are critical, you wanted to know which ones are important. So we do choke point analysis to know that where the particular choke point in your organization, to know you want to be able to fix them. So that is all the part of the Sentinel graph that provides you that kind of capability, and then MCP tools is enabling all the graph as a graph rack through this to the agents, or the raw data to the agents, so that everything that what we have reasoned over, the agents which the defender has be able to reason it over on top of it. So that's my end of it. Thanks for your patience when things were not working, and so I really, really appreciate having your time. It's not like we will lose the job. We all are going to have the job. Just by that, as a human, you cannot defend when threat actors are fully agentic. AI will not replace the defenders, but you cannot win in the new world if you don't have the AI along with you and the agentic systems along with you. So this is where the systems that, if you look at the market, whether you look at Microsoft, Google, CrowdStrike, Palo, all of us are moving towards a similar direction where we have to ship the agentic AI platforms that helps the defenders to be able to grow. I just showed the Microsoft story, but you would go and look at it, any one of these systems in the market. This is exactly where every one of them are going into, but that is the whole story. The story is, again, I just want to close it off with cybersecurity is the biggest threats. The second part of AI is making the economics coming down so fast, so down. It is completely making it easier. Threat actors are going agentic. The defenders needs to become agents as well. And you will see more and more of that is happening. This is the place, one place, that the defenders are going to be very happy there is agents defending than anybody else where you say, okay, is agents going to take away my job? That's not the place here. It is more about defense. And that is the whole part of it. So I feel at least happy that the systems are starting to show up to be able to work and defend on the agentic and AI systems. I can go deep on it, but so thank you so much.
You do video first, or? Shari's going to introduce you.
It's my pleasure to introduce IEEE Board Chair, Humanitarian Board, and please welcome Grayson.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I think we'll start, hopefully, here with a short video, and then we'll talk a little bit about what the Humanitarian Technology Board is and some of the projects we're working on.
IEEE Humanitarian Technologies is a consortium of programs and initiatives supported by a global network of volunteers and technical professionals working together to apply technology to solve the world's most pressing problems. In keeping with the IEEE mission of advancing technology for the benefit of humanity at the core, our consortium of humanitarian programs leverages the strength and reach of the IEEE network to make a difference in local communities around the globe. Our joint impact reaches all corners of the world. We work closely with local partners and small communities to address local challenges. We also work with the global partners to solve universal problems facing our next generations. Through our humanitarian technology programs, we power remote villages, provide internet for all, electrify healthcare, and empower education. We provide opportunities to fund the design and implementation of sustainable technologies to solve the most pressing challenges in the world. We also support disaster relief by providing connectivity and electricity to affected people on a global level. Through our initiatives and programs, we not only give a platform for engineering with purpose, but also allow young engineers to grow professionally while significantly benefiting humanity. The humanitarian technology programs at IEEE inspire new generations to solve our current social, environmental, and humanitarian problems. When joining the IEEE humanitarian technologies, you're not just an engineer, you're a change maker, sparking transformative solutions worldwide to build a better and more sustainable world for all. Join us.
Okay, so I'm Grayson Randall. I'm the 25-26 chair of the Humanitarian Technology Board. So we're basically the Tech for Social Impact Hub. Our board oversees all the humanitarian programs at IEEE, and we work to create solutions in underserved communities. There's a lot of ways that you can do humanitarian work. In particular, we are tech for good or technology for social impact. Because we have over 500,000 members in 190 countries, we're well positioned to do humanitarian work around the world. So we really focus on, IEEE's focus is technology and how we apply technology to humanitarian programs. So there's a number of programs that we oversee in IEEE. SITE is our membership program. We have nearly 80,000 members that are signed up with SITE. And by signing up, you get the newsletter and updates on programs and calls for proposals and kind of summarizes the work that's going on in IEEE. So if you're not signed up and have an interest in humanitarian work, SITE is where you need to go. Our two funding programs are Tech for Good and EPICS and IEEE. EPICS is focused at university students. We supply funding for the students to go into the field and to do a community service project in the humanitarian domain. The Tech for Good program is our funding program for our membership. And between Tech for Good and EPICS, we give out over $1 million in grants each year. We have IEEE REACH, which is a STEM education program. They provide materials for people, for educators that are working in the STEM space. And that's mostly free, available if you go to their site. Smart Village and Empower a Billion Lives are programs that specifically go out and build programs at the community level. Smart Village is actually an educational program that teaches the community how to build their project and gives them education to support that project so that it's sustainable. The MOVE program is IEEE's disaster relief program. We have trucks that carry communications equipment and radio equipment, and we deploy to disasters where the infrastructure has been badly damaged. And that program has 3 trucks in the US. We have a program in Puerto Rico, a program in India, and we have 2 other sites that will be on with us soon. So because this is, I could talk a lot about our programs, but today we're talking about AI. We are in the middle of a large AI competition. The Gen AI for Good Challenge is working on responsible AI and is deployed for the good. So the concept is that we are interfacing with organizations outside of IEEE. In particular, we're working with the International Telecommunications Union as part of their Gen AI for Good program. So we're really connecting our technologies, IEEE's technologies, with the UN and their technology groups to do humanitarian work outside. So the ITU has in-country personnel through their agencies. We're actually utilizing their channels to get into certain countries. And then we're taking our technology skills and interfacing with them to create solutions at the national level in several countries. The challenge unlocks money, funding, and visibility, and a technical framework. And I'll talk about that. That's pretty exciting as well. So it's an opportunity for people in general to be able to participate in a large-scale humanitarian impact. So the challenge really addresses real deployment. The use cases we're going to talk about were actually written by UN member countries for real problems that they're having in that country. So it's not a hypothetical challenge. The challenge is to solve a real problem. It's an open framework. ITU has developed a platform for the development of generative AI solutions. They hope to make that a semi-standard across the UN countries, and we leverage that framework as part of this competition. And we're building for impact. We do a lot of work at the community level. We do a lot of projects where they electrify or have water or other humanitarian solutions at the community level. This program is focused at the national level for the participating countries. So the three use cases that we're working with is one, agricultural extension chatbot in Lesotho, an AI chatbot for the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases in Gambia, and an AI-powered extreme weather advisor in Bangladesh. So those three countries actually developed the requirements that the competition will be based around. And at the finish of the competition, the winners have the opportunity to deploy the solution into those three countries at the national level. So our applications opened in October. They just closed December 1st, just less than a week ago. And then in January, we'll announce the 9 finalists, 3 for each of the use cases. And those 3 finalists will be provided cloud-based services with lots of GPUs for development of their chatbots. And then the winning teams will be announced in April. So over the last 3.5 months, we've had 11,000 people sign up to be informed about our competition, our challenge. So that's all people that are interested and want to do humanitarian work or have an interest. We got 318 submissions from 79 countries. So we're really excited about that. A very diversified group of submissions, and we'll be sorting through those submissions to pick out the 9 finalists. And you also can see that we had 139 agriculture, 71 climate use cases, and 108 health submissions as well. So you can continue to follow this program. There's a QR code there that, or if you go to our website at IEEEht.org, you can sign up for a site. You can sign up to find out more about the AI challenge. And we're already working on the next challenge. Details to be determined, but we're doing work there. There's also another large program, AI-based competition in the first quarter of next year. So the best way to keep up on the exciting humanitarian work at IEEE is to go to the IEEEht.org site. So thank you. If there's any questions, you're welcome to contact us at that address.
Should I maybe just go ahead, take a break?
3:15.
Yeah. Maybe we take a little break, come back at 3:15. Okay, thanks.
So we're going to try and play your slide 3 animation. So hopefully,
If you can help to do that, be great. We don't have too much luck today.
Oops.
Hello, 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 hello. Let's start. Let's start. Please, let's start. Shall we let us start? Yes, please. Uh, I want to say thank you to stay with us all day, and hope you enjoy what we have presented. And I think it's very valuable because it's crystallized wisdom from many different different industry and the humanitarian people expert. So I would like to show you something which many experts here may not believe it can be done, because I think this is something that for centuries nobody know this is possible. It's like Mr. He presented to us of those MIMOs and the billions of AI agents. And that is a far vision. And I think we have far vision. I have this thought, and what is, you think about all the natural disasters or human disaster have billions of dollars lost, especially like wildfire and earthquakes we heard earlier. And for centuries, there's zero people know what to do until now. Even now, we lost 7 or 8 million acres a year. But with AI, we can make it possible. And okay.
It's okay, just keep talking.
Okay. Okay. See, these things, it doesn't happen before. This is a satellite picture of all the wildfires in the world, in the United States. Every red dot, it is a representative of the satellite observation of there is a wildfire there. And so that opened up with a wide view of where are things happening. That's why it cost 7 or million acres get burned and $200 billion lost. And it was impossible before, and now get it refined with a very good resolution. So that's why I called our title, World Leaders Summit, Uniting Satellite, Humanity, and the World, Smart World. So this is on screen. So what my thoughts, my thinking is, since the satellite can see so clear, why don't we just go ahead and eliminate those fires, and then everybody will be happy. So I did design the methodologies to eliminate those fires before and during imminent stages. When you kill the fire 30 minutes before, then it can die. It would never happen, keep on going. But if you over 30 minutes and the fire is already burst out, there's no way to rescue. So that's a thought to me is, look, I can use the satellite image plus the ground sensors, and I designed the ground network, but it's all in the forest. How you can have a ground network to make it work to let us know where it is and how we act upon that ground network. So one of my thoughts at that time was, I can use because if you understand communication, is the frequency, and the high frequency have the lowest reaching out area. If we use lower frequency and use network, and then use lower data rate, but on the meantime, this lower data rate will be good enough to tell us there is a fire there. So what my thought at that time was, look, if we have this satellite observation, in nighttime, it's like 3 by 3 feet, you can see. It's very clear, and with all the new synthetic apertures with satellite invention, so we use a low orbital satellite to find out where it is, and use the synthetic aperture satellite. And then when we find it, and I have a design to have a drone warehouse, and inside the drone warehouse, and we have all the automations to have windows and roof bust out when there's fires, and then we have automatic pad for recharging and automatic system to deploy. So we have every single thinking how to get them out. And when we also designed was, I thought is, first we'll have an investigation drone instead of killing, because you may kill nothing. So we send out a smaller smaller drones, which has the LiDAR. Okay, the LiDAR, I have the CEO of Microvision was going to come to make a presentation, but he couldn't get here because of the ticket. Okay, and so the beauty of the LiDAR from Microvision is they can sensing where the trees are. Because if you drone high, it's useless. You can't see anything. If you have the drone go down, then you can smell things, you can see things, and you can avoid the trees, and you go down close to the piles, which is smoking. And then you put some sensors on there, and the sensor will be able to see what kind of particles or what kind of ashes, and then you can kill them. And with the servers on the satellite and on Earth, even satellite server can be monitored by servers on Earth. Then we can use AI to do agentic AI I designed the system. And so then we can smell where the things is happening, and we just kill them. On the meantime, because we have the server and the system, I can design to have because all the fires come out, it maybe have the ashes flying all around, right? And so we can use the topography from the satellite and to draw a circle of influence. And then we can have the drones fly off to kill out those ashes and to kill and draw where our ashes is going to fly to. And we have all the drones kill the fire, kill the ashes, kill the imminent fires, and also spread all the retardant around it. And that has to be done by drones because nobody can get into the deep, deep forest. And then it has to be autonomous. And that autonomous key is we have a microprocessor inside the drones, then we can fly over and to see where it is, and then they can do their job. So the design is to, first we have smelly drones, and to the investigation all around all the red dot. And then when it happens, then we have a group of drones carry different things to try to kill the fire. So if we can do that with automation, the beauty is at nighttime, when the first responder is sleeping, And they have get up, they get the equipment, and it's already exit half an hour. But if we use automation without human intervention, we have a chance to kill the fire and without anybody get hurt. And that's instant. So that's a very, very key factors. And so we had this design, and I have this concept for a while, and trying to get it going. But I find two good coworkers, the Tejas Gage in Amazon, and he is Amazon senior manager, and he's our donor for this event. And the other one is his manager underneath him, Nathan. So we did a simulation of how this works and how to establish the drone house, how to send out the drones, how to kill them, and when they finish, they can go home, and then they come back with spray to retardant, fire retardant, then we can be safe, and then we save 7 or 8 million acres of forest. And I think that's a very good goal for humanity. So what my goal is to say, take the challenging as opportunity for us to use human and artificial intelligence together to make things which human cannot reach, but artificial intelligence with automation can get there. So I want to do a demo here. So this is the choose in Washington State, a specific forest area nobody can reach. And so when we start, you see the drone house, all those drone house, it's all automated. Then they send the drones first to investigate to the fire, because the fire, we choose the position, it has been the most frequent fire in Washington State. So then they get to the area, then they can investigate around to find the smoking guns. And then they can go back, and those are the areas they defined. Then they will go back and send the drones to try to kill the fire. And then they go, everybody comes from different drone warehouses, and they're going around try to kill the fire. And after that, you can see they going back home, get recharged, and sit there for next mission. So this kind of, and this drones not necessary to be in the warehouse. It can be on a truck, like a move truck. The Grayson has been building that things. And these, so the drone warehouse we all have satellite communication, because right now with the low orbital satellite, the communication is pretty good, even in the middle of the forest. And if you can get that and use that, I have built the low frequency network to make sure it will be far enough to do that. So then after they clear, you see the areas are cleaned up, and then they spray something, and then they will go back home. And after half an hour, the things is done, there's no fire, and then we save all the first responders have to get up in the middle of the night and get hurt. And they also lose 7 or 8 million acres. And this kind of things would never happen a few years ago, because when the satellite is not viable and there's nothing wake us up that way. It can not be happened a few years ago because of AI is not popular at that time. And right now, with all our agentic AI, we can have multi ways to control how those things are doing. And the other beauty of this is 90% of the wildfire is not because of natural, it's because of man-made. So when we send these drones to go there, and if we see the shape of a man is doing something, then we can always use that to send a signal back and through satellite to the headquarters or somewhere, and to make sure we can disable either the drones in there doing bad things or the human doing bad things. And that is also keep the safety or security of our land, natural land, not to be destroyed. So this kind of things have many, many advantages. So we have been trying to reach out to the Washington State, and the person who is going to do the emergency management, who is the chief of the emergency management in Washington State, he was going to give a keynote today, but his wife is ill, so he has to stay home, and so he will give a talk remote tomorrow afternoon. And he told me this is the way to go. One is save the lives of first responders, because he cares about the people who work for him, and the people volunteers. And the second thing is because of this flexibility, it's not necessary it's in the forest, it can be in human areas as well. And also FCC has already agreed to have legally, we can use drones for first responders, for firefighters. And so that's a good news also. So we would love to have somebody interested to support or join our effort together and to make these things become realities, for example, to have some testing sites somewhere, and possibly in Washington State because it's closer to our home. And so someday we can say after a few months later, and we have something which we can showcase, like today's robot, say make impossible become possible. Make it was not workable, now it's workable. And it's because we are in a cross-section of the most extraordinary century, put this way, most extraordinary time. So let us to use uniting satellite, humanity, and the smart world to save the people, save the natural land, and save people's property. That's our aim. So with this kind of uniting satellite and smart humanity, smart world, I have other works going. Okay, this is running. I'm coming, goes out. Just a minute. I want to jump out, enter. Okay. Okay. So this is like architecture of, what happened? It shows nice in my here. Huh? Back? Come back. Oh, this is it. It's already too much. Okay. So this is, I should go, this, okay. So this is the architecture of how this works. So you have a whole bunch of drone warehouses, and all the servers in there, and all the automation in there, and to have the things going on there. And then you can have the satellite. Even I can have the satellite dishes on top of the trees, right? So because sometimes the satellite right now is very light, so you can put it on top. And then the drones can go down also, go down to the tree, underneath the trees as a beauty. And we have the LiDARs from microvisions can go down to the trees and not to be hit by the trees. So those are the things. And then we have the workout plans, how to do the server to get these things done. And with the AI, it's become a reality to do. And so this, and I also have this designs. Come back, please. Okay, that's it? It shows on my, please. Okay. What should I do? Come back. Okay. You can, you can see my screen. Okay. You should. Yeah. It's a resolution issue. Tom, Scott, where are you? Come to help. Scott, or anybody from the back can help me. I want to show them how this works for earthquake as well. Come on. Scott? Huh? He's, oh, okay. Okay, you please help me. It works here.
Earlier with some of the other slides, there's
Yeah.
every once in a while some slides don't work. We're not entirely sure why. Your next slide with the earthquake does work.
It worked earlier.
For some reason, every time you load up that specific slide, our system goes dark.
This
That
one.
we do get to see.
Okay, how about to see out there? Maybe your connection is not good enough.
No, because it's been an issue with
Oh,
specific.
come back,
slides.
come
So
back.
that one will work. If you go back to the drone photo, it'll crash again.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay.
Okay, so, but that's a drone photo you see on the small picture anyway. So, so that's the design of the drones, who has lots of eyes and who has lots of nose, who has lots of weapons, and so you can do whatever is necessary to be done. And I also want to talk about the earthquake. For example, you see the Marinam, the 70.7 earthquake, and you see the earthquake center, and in the center, and then there was surrounding infected area. So the similar to the wildfire, the satellite have a special ways, especially with synthetic apertures and various different characteristics in terms of how the light polarized and those things. And so we can do is to use that to not just see the surface topography and how they be destroyed and how the topography is looking. We can look one layer deeper, for example, to see, try to see the stress and strain on the Earth at the same time. And because when I'm a material scientist and physicist, so when the like steels, when they have elasticity break at the end. So when the earthquake have similar, the earth crash have similar situation. So we can also use that characteristic, which is different than most of people have been using before. Then we can use that to do some predictions and to do something. And that's also, but this scale is much bigger than the fire, much bigger because of all the stress are distributed. But that's a possibility. And then what happened is, and we also have a design of the architecture diagram. And then we do some simulation of, for example, in the Seattle area, what we did the simulation is we assume when there is an earthquake coming, and before that, how are we going to evacuate people? And we did the simulation is, for example, we can put the Seattle in the centers, half of them go north, half of them go south, and then to avoid all the center, earthquake centers, and then use the bus and trains and cars, and to see what kind of distribution is highest the best, and use AI to see where are the best route to escape also as well. and it becomes very interesting, and it's not so difficult, and then we can find some sweet spot to have the curves, the bell curves, which shows one is the like the speed when you go on the highway. If you have the speed too slow, it will be people cannot pass. So you have much lower rate to let people escape. And then when you have the too many cars in the highway, and because everybody wants to get out, then it's impossible to have any people get out either. So with this, you can see a curve to see where is the best point scientifically, and then we can see what will be result is. So from this, our result is total estimate optimal time to escape is we try to evacuate 300,000 people from designated Seattle earthquake fault zone. And then when 40% of the evacuates use cars and 40% use buses, the estimated optimal evacuation time is will be 9.7 hours. That's too long, and the earthquake probably will be very difficult. But if we have other solution, if we use 8% of evacuees use cars and 72% use buses, then the easiest optimal evacuation time is approximately 2.99 hours. That means about 3 hours. And that is much more manageable for people to get out before earthquake cause a big, huge people casualties as well. So that's easy. Now this is a purely use AI to do that. So it is rational. You think about it, is everybody get the car on the highways, nobody can move. But if you have nobody allowed, then you cannot move. So what you do is to find the sweet spot to make sure everything's optimized, that everybody can get out. And in the meantime, we also use the drone to do guidance. One of the things is because I used to be first responders too, and I also was on the Washington State communication, emergency management communication groups. And we have lots of communication get broken down during the earthquake. Then we have to find different ways to do it. And right now, the beautiful things on Earth is to have satellite communication to let us, no matter what time, we can have a satellite communication. How bad the Earth was, satellite communication still working. And because we just have a little dishes, so we'll be able to see where, and with the Earth observation, we can see where are the center of the earthquake and which way we should guide people, and we have drones to guide people, and we also have drones to save people if there's things. If we see from the satellite, we can see some like 520s break or 90s break, then we should go, everybody goes to different bridge, that kind of situation. So because with this kind of thinking is the change of the science, the advancement of the science make impossible become achievable. And so that is what I'm trying to do. In the meantime, I think we have AI for challenging, which I'm sponsor. I pay for the prices. And we have one of the candidate and talk about avalanche. And then what I know was, remember Seattle area before we had a mudslide, so many people died because of mud is going down, those situations. And I remember when previous governor Jay Inslee was, at that time they have a mudslide, and he just took helicopter ride with President Obama, and then come back, and his face was gray. And I asked him, "Why do you look this way? Why you're so sad?" And he said he just went out to a helicopter ride, and he sees so many people died, and he has no way to save them. So I told him that I'm an IEEE member. I can save you. I can save it. So I wrote, since then I wrote lots of white paper about the emergency management and joined the emergency management groups and become one of the persons to help Washington State. So the point is, at that time, we didn't have AI, we didn't have drone, we didn't have the Earth observation, we didn't have satellite communication. Now we have all of them. Now we can use them to do what we need to do to get Washington State or the world to have a much better place for us to live in, and we don't need to worry too much about if the earthquake or something happened. So maybe somebody who is thinking for years there's no solution. How do you, a small person, and you can think of something to do something different? And they may think it's impossible, but according to my thinking, is as long as it's consistent with the scientific principle, it is possible. If consistent with engineering standards and possible, then it is possible, because innovation happens every day, every hour. And when this impossible becomes possible, then the things can be done. For example, I love MIMO because they create so many communication possibilities with shaping the beam or with communication, and choose different multi-input, multi-output, and those create infinite possibilities and make communication much more sophisticated. And we can do is to, that's, I want to go back to my title of the conference, Unite Satellite, Humanity, and the Smart World. And that consistent with IEEE's logo, IEEE's principle, right? Engineering for humanity. So we are all doing good deed. It's not, this doesn't make really money, but sometimes when you can do something nice, you just feel that life is more worthwhile than what we do every day. And so sometimes when we die, we think about, somebody will think of, oh, that person have done something good for us. Then that's my aim of the life. It's not really money maker, but it is nice to do something which can make a little difference for everybody else. So that's my thinking. And so that's why I also sponsored this AI for Humanity Challenge. And so tonight, after we next talk, I will invite you to across the hall to the North Grade Center, and I have the most delicious, beautiful French dessert, petit four. It is melt in your mouth. Such a pleasure. And please come over, and we will celebrate there, and we can give the award to the winner of the humanitarian AI for Humanitarian Challenge, and we have the pleasure to have Tom Coughlin and Grayson Randalls be the judges. I was the first round, but I'm trying to avoid to be the person because I'm too local, and have them to be impartially judged, and so we can witness how those people has win. And I believe they all deserve to be winner, and we give them cash prizes too. So, and it's a truly pleasure to talk with you. And we have one more talk. It's going to be remote, and after that we will move over to the other rooms, enjoy some French dessert, and have some nice coffee, waters of some sort, and then we can present the award for this award is especially meaningful. I create this award is to have student and faculty team. So many of the awardees are the student faculty team or the student or the faculty. So it's trying to see the next generation come up with new ideas. And so they can think wild. Just like when I was interviewing Stephen for the Boeing's vice president. And our generation, always look for the new generation, think of something wild. People think it's impossible, but it's possible. So hope you will join us that way. And also I want to mention to you too, before I go off the podium, I'm most proud is our tomorrow's event, whole day. We have 300 submissions, and we find the most good ones. And so now we have like 150 speakers. And out of them, so we have 6 symposiums from the AI, frontier AI, ethical AI, AI for humanity, and to the robotics, AI for medicine, AI for humanity, and communication, AI for communication and satellite, and AI for most interesting part I was most intrigued is we have over 120 submissions are AI for business, intelligent business. So we have people from Walmart, Kroger, and Amazon's, and everybody. And so it's so wonderful. And banking, we have American Express, we have Chase, we have different banks submissions. And so it's so hot there. I was really surprised. And because they make money, the AI make them make money. So anything make money, and the business people will go after, and they make your growth, and they do predictions and the guided predictions, and is much more solid than you just grab something from your hand, empty hand. So learn it from it, because I think AI for business is going to be a huge, huge expansion in that area. And the AI for medicine is also longevity, how you're going to make proteins, make different molecules, and that is huge. And I'm sorry about I was shocked yesterday that we have the Nobel Prize winner couldn't come. And I really, really sad for that, because I worked so hard for the last 2 months, try to get him come. But sometimes we just have to accept the life. But the fact is, their invention make impossible become possible because of AI. So all what I say is what I think. And I hope you will feel the same way as I do, and use AI, do some good deed to make everybody safer and happy and peaceful, instead of use AI to make hatreds and make bad things for other people that way. Okay, thank you so much. So now we're going to do the next program by Down 10. Can you start the next with Down 10? What? Can you do it? When they're going, let me introduce Down 10. Down is the United States National Academy of Engineers, and he is the president-elect of IEEE technical committee. activities. And now he's the president of the President Council of all the technical community, technical society. So, and he's very smart, and he also used to work on a satellite before. But this one, he's going to talk about how to do the rapid charging, because I think it's also in the vehicles in space, you need to do something extraordinary. So I hope you will stay and hear what he has. And he couldn't get a ticket here, so that's why he wants to do the remote.
Yeah, so give us about 5 minutes.
Okay. So since he will talk about 5 minutes, so maybe I'll talk more. I'm so pleased and so proud of our IEEE leadership. Tom Coughlin has been guiding us from the day one and stay with us until today, be the co-chairs of this event. And he always gives me very good advice. And he is so care about IEEE members. And last month he come here, we had a reception at the Columbia Tower Club, and people were so impressed by him. And they feel, because of we have him, IEEE is a better place to be a member. and because they get so much encouraged. You couldn't imagine all those people, younger people, or the people has been seasoned workers, and when they feel something, people care about them from the top, they really, really feels comforting, especially in today's environment. Many people get laid off, especially in the government area, and getting very difficult. And we provide this conference with very small talks. Last year, I goes to Computer Society talk. I paid $1,200 admission fee. And I know 80% of our members couldn't afford that kind of ticket. So we make this below 100, and right now it's sometimes 50, 60, or even free one for the volunteers, student. So let people feel it's home, and they feel home, and they feel they have a network, and they feel when they are in trouble, they know where to go to have learn some new skills or have some friends go after network. So I wanted to proudly mention we have 1,500 new members since last year to today. I'm the chair of Seattle section. That's why I count the members every day. And when I see it just keep on growing from 100 to 1,500. And to me, it's quite comforting. And the reason also I feel is if we have the conference like this, and we use not very expensive food or not very expensive space, we get to the school, but people can have their inspired by executives and new thinking and new vision, and rethink about their future, what kind of option they have. Okay, so now I stop talking, let Don Tan to talk with you. Thank you.
Hello. So Don, let's do a test. Oh, okay, I can hear you now. Can you see my picture? I can see ARCAV. All right, we can hear you. Okay. Do you want to go in a slideshow mode? Okay, I think I'm there, but let me we can start one more time. Here. This is sharing. Okay. you are screen sharing. My top says you are screen sharing.
Yeah, so hide the Gemini window.
My Gemini window, okay. Close it.
All right, you're on.
Okay. Shall I just press ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you all, everybody, and it's my great pleasure to present to you remotely, and I thank you for the great opportunity. And also, so my talk will actually continue from high flying, but we'll bring you down to the ground. The topic is actually towards 100% battery powered electric vehicle. So there are two aspects of it. One is the ultra fast charging, and then the other one is ubiquitous infrastructure. So I'll start my talk with a small story. So this picture shows you early 2000s. There's a special funeral. This is special. It's not because it's not for a person. It's actually for a car. The car is called EV1 for those of who know them. Those of us. So EV1 is actually the world's very first mass-produced, fully electrified passenger cars. So at that time it was leased to a group of people by General Motors. I mean, I think 2 or 3 years in the road. In early 2000, they decided to recall them. To recall all of them, there's the middle chart to show actually the only to crush them. So actually the EV1 actually functioning smoothly. Everybody actually had signed the lease, actually enjoyed driving the EV1. So when they, because it cannot be purchased, it has to be leased. So then they reserved the rights to record all of them. So that's what they did, and then crush them all. So that's why particularly the Hollywood people are not happy about this. So they staged this to mark the funeral, and then they actually made a video, actually still available last time I checked on YouTube. So the story is the technology has its own cycles. It sometimes can be strange. So in the early 2000s, for electric vehicle, I'm talking about the passenger cars, the future seemed to be very bleak. So that was then. So this is now. So just about every manufacturer is actually have some kind of electric vehicle. It's been actually designed, built, and marketed. So they're actually not only that. So some of the niche designers for this one, this looks like cartoons. It's actually a real car. You can see they're running on the Pacific Coast Highway. And then it's by the name called Apatera, so in San Diego. And then you can see this actually is designed to drive 1,000 miles. And then you can see the drag is extremely low. It's between a Solar Racer and the Tesla Model 3. So the drag is 0.13. So then you probably would say, okay, Don, this is actually a specially designed car to hit 1,000 miles. But but look at this next chart. So not too long ago, the GM actually announced the Chevrolet Silverado EV Max Ranger. The truck actually demonstrated 1,059.2 miles at one full charge. So the electric vehicle revolution is unfolding right in front of us. So the drivetrain, I just mentioned the car is not exactly the same car as your grandfather's car, not an ICE car. And also the drivetrain is different. So to the left, you can see it's a typically traditional electric motors. So then the newer one, by Tesla is called embedded permanent magnet synchronous reluctance motor. Is a mouthful, but nevertheless, this motor represents all the advantages in the traditionally 4 different types of motors together. And then combined with the power electronics. I'm actually from power electronics. Then you can see it actually makes the car really fast, really robust. And then you can see this is the motor inside. This is the GM bolt, relatively simple. And then this is mostly convoluted, mostly complicated, most performing.
This is one of the lucid assembly. So you can see that not only the motors are integrated with the electronics, or the gearbox is actually fully integrated into the assembly. So that's where the technology is going. So that's for the drivetrain technology. So as we all know, that the real challenge for which you actually had hold back the electric vehicle is the battery. So the DOE actually in early 2010s actually had a program to drive the battery called lithium-ion battery cost down. So at that time, there's a model predicted if the battery cost is $100 kilowatt hour, then EVs can be more cost effective than the ICE cars. So that was actually, then that probably by the 2018, 2019-ish, that basically achieved that goal. So today, actually we are far, passing that. So Tesla 4680 is projected to go down from 118 to 95. That's the most expensive one. The BYD blades is projected from 90 to $75, and the KTL chilling is going to be 105 to go down to 85. So that's the, relative speaking, three major types, also three major battery vendors. So you can see here are some details of technical performance. Because of time, we don't have time to go through every single one of them. Except to point out that the BYD blades and the cartel chilling has one significant advantage, which is the last line on the chart. It's basically at the miners, it goes almost 100% better than the lithium-ion batteries manufactured by Tesla. It goes to -40. So in other words, performance much better at cold temperature. The disadvantage is that the power density, as you can see here, is 140, 160, or 250. It's relatively 1/3 or even less. But however, they actually made up by a more ingenious packaging and integration. But the cost is significantly lower. And also another significant advantage is that they don't have the explosion problem. Because there's no danger of growing within the battery. So the technology actually migrating into for grid application. So this is one standard cabinet or 20 megawatts hour battery from one of the vendors in Chinese vendors. And of course, then Mercedes-Benz recently announced that their 1,000-mile cars seems to be a benchmark everybody trying to hit. And also the many other Chinese vendors actually claim they have solid-state batteries. So we are, we've been hearing solid-state batteries around the corner on the stairways, but so far we have not seen it in production. But hopefully next year or the next couple of years they will. So the solid-state batteries will probably double the density, enhance the mileage for the same weight. So that will be a significant advantage going forward. So, and then also you can see that the disruption is actually bound to happen to the traditional ICE car makers. ICE stands for internal combustion engine. So there's various detailed reasons. I'm not going to go through this eye chart with you. But except to say two things. One is like the chassis manufacturing now for the fully electric cars now is taking the departure from the traditional chassis manufacturing process because they are much simpler, and also they are trying to integrate the battery assembly directly into the chassis, which then will be significantly different than the traditional ICE car chassis. And the second one is more telling for those of us in the industry. The parts count for a typical electric vehicle is 220 something, and then for the ICE cars, it's 10 times. It's 2,200 plus. So you can see who's going to win the battle if the battery technology is solved. Which is, I showed before, the battery problem for electrical passenger cars, it's been actually resolved. So then you will ask me that, hey, then what's the roadblock for us to have 100% electric vehicles? I mean, passenger cars. So there's one thing left, which is basically the so-called charging anxiety. So we all know if you drive a gas car and you drive the car to anywhere you go, you never think about where to gas up, right? I mean, that's because they are just ubiquitous everywhere. But still today, well, for the charging station, it's not nearly as ubiquitous as the gas station. So that's one thing. Secondly, that another thing is the charging speed still for those currently available on the market, including all the Tesla charging stations. They are still taking about 10 and a half an hour, 10 minutes, 15 and a half an hour, depends on the car size and the battery size, to really charge. And so as we all know that now people do is find a burger and then have a burger and then have a cup of coffee, take a bio break, and then that probably kills about half an hour. Then you go for another 200 miles. So you can go from LA to San Francisco just with one charge. So in order to really compete with actually traditional, okay, this is another picture. So the charger, fast charger, this is deployed in 2016, is 350 kilowatts. That was a 400 volt system. And then later on, people moved to 800 volt system to be so they can be faster. And now the people actually is moving to 1,000 volts or even above. So then you can actually have a much faster charging speed. So currently, a couple of months ago, the BYD announced that a 1,000 volts, 1 megawatt Super E platform, which claims that they can charge the battery full charge in 5 minutes. So basically, and then there's another vendor by the name of Zeekr announced a 1.2 megawatts charger. So this is actually all liquid cooled because the power dissipation, they have this sustain. So you can see now with all this new technology, and then the charging speed now can be comparable with a gas station. So in 5 minutes, so you basically you wait there 5 minutes, you're done. Or you just take a bio break, when you come back, it's done. So the technology-wise is there. So then the question was, is for the economics to work. So they can deploy, in a ubiquitous way. So then for people who needs actually fast charging, and then they can go to a super ultra fast charging station, just like they go to a gas station. They can quickly charge it up. For instance, I got a call, I have to go there in 1 hour, a couple hours to San Francisco. I have to drive to, I have to haul something over there. And then you have to go. Then you have to go to ultra fast charging station. As you can, one of the challenges, facing the ultra fast charging station, like I mentioned before, each one of them is 1 megawatt. For instance, the minimum, for instance, in this picture shows you typically four charging stations, and that's 4 megawatts. Then we can see, we know that a typical gas station is actually 10 or 12 of them. So you can see this can easily get into megawatts, there are 12 or 10 megawatts. This is like a small university campus. So that represents a significant, not significant, a certain challenge to the grid operators. So if you want to connect such a load into the power grid, you need to have some permit. You have some, you have to need to do some planning. Besides your own money and design, all that stuff. Okay, so. And then that picture I showed you a little while ago, this actually was in 2017. I did this, that I predict this can happen. So this next chart shows you actually it is happening. So this one is actually, I believe, the world first EV charging plaza or station in California. And then actually in Santa Ana, not too far from Irvine, where I live. And then you can see this is basically really similar to a gas station. You can see this is where everything else. Then you have a solar panel and the cars parked in there. Then you plug it in. Then you can see this is they use a app to control, charging and paying all that stuff. And then you can see this another picture. You have car wash. You have to the right. You have a grocery store. You can take a bio break. You have a coffee shop, Wi-Fi, and etc. So you can see. So this is in operation, and then based on my understanding, they charge it about 58 cents per kilowatt hour. it's not too bad. And so if they can actually make it economically, make them economically sustainable, and then this probably will start rolling out, hopefully, scaling up. So the challenges to grid, I mentioned that before, and then if you have for certain strategic places, you need to have ultra-fast gas charging, not gas, electricity charging station. Then you need to actually have certain things you have to deal with interface with the grid. I just mentioned that before. Because time limited, and I'm not going to go through the details. But so the way, and then not only you have to manage the power, and there's a harmonics you have to manage, then how you charge the station, manage the loads, communication layer, and also standard protocol, and also communication with the central office, ISO, TISO, anyway. So this, there's some work needs to be done, and then I think there's many things is actually happening on the ground, in the field. So this is just AI picture that shows you the communication and integration with the grid and communication channel. Then the way to handle these challenges is actually configure a charging station as a structured microgrid, and then where you have a storage assembly, and then also because the large transformer is a natural vehicle, it can provide you multi-ports, and then you can couple, grid power, sun, solar, wind, geothermal, even nuclear power or fusion, whatever you have. They can actually nicely couple it through to provide the power to charge them. So as you can see, there's another picture shows the concept. It's a microgrid with the renewable energy integrated with the battery in the front and with charging station. So that can actually provide a renewable integration, and also not only that, then you can actually, if you design such a way, you can actually support the grid operations. If you have, for instance, there's a lot of wind, and then you have surplus of power, then you can feed back to the grid. Because your size, you probably, I said, it's 10 or 20 megawatts. That's much easier for you to work with the grid to provide support. Most importantly, for renewable energy integration, for a sustainable future for us, and also economically, you can provide an additional revenue stream. And then you have to realize that those grid support, you can sell good money for that. As we all know, that they're not cheap. When you need the VAR or whatever you need to sustain in the summer or in the bad weather, those are really expensive. So you can see that can be very good revenue stream for the charging station operators. So I mentioned this, that one of the things to make the coupling multi-ports together is called a flexible electronic large power transformer. So this basically can be can be AC to AC. Then in the middle you have DC. That will be a natural space where you can couple the renewable energy in there, or the particular solar, or fuel cell, or battery. So I have given quite a few keynote talks on the specifics. And then so today I'm not gonna. We don't have time to go through that, but except to mention it. So besides this, then you can see. Then basically based on my talk, then you can see we have a path forward for ultra-fast charging. Basically, then you will have gas stations, ultra-fast charging stations, which can actually compete with the gas station in time, not only renewable energy. So that technology is actually there. We just need to actually enhance it, make sure economically sustainable and scalable going forward. So then another question is then here is a picture that then you ask, how many people really need ultra-fast charging? Because we know we don't always drive from LA to San Francisco or vice versa. not that often, right? But once in a while, maybe monthly or quarterly or whatever. So, and then people even less people drive across the continent from the east to west to the east. So, and this survey actually provides very useful data by the Department of Energy. They say actually 95% U.S. electric vehicle drivers actually 95% of them drive actually 46 kilometers or maybe about 26 miles a day for electric vehicle. That's an overwhelming majority of people. So you can see for 26 miles, we all know even the hybrids can easily give you 26 or 30 miles a day. So in other words, technically you don't have to charge at work, and then you come back during midnight, you program your charger to charge midnight, and then you can charge them. So, and then so then the issue then becomes, how do I really provide a ubiquitous charging station for those, I just loosely use the term trickle charge, very low charge rates for them to charge. So you can see for this, there's no new fancy technology. It's actually more of a policy issue and also more of the infrastructure issue. Imagine this, if somehow we can make this happen for every company that's a lot of parking lot, each parking lot, or a majority of the parking lot, you have a simple plug-in, so the car can easily plug in, or a simple charging station, or wireless charging, you can touch your battery, and then when you park the car at work, which is usually at least 8 or 9 hours a day, and then you then can charge your battery food, and after work you can go pick up kids, go do grocery shopping, or start driving during the weekend, right? So then this actually can handle 95% the needs. So that's the going forward for ubiquitous infrastructure for relatively low rate charging or trickle charge, whatever you call it. So you can see, generally speaking, that the path for a 100% electric vehicle for the passenger cars is clear. So we have a path forward. We just need to work together. That's why actually I went to the Department of Transportation. I did a similar pitch to them for them to make sure they actually can put this on the radar to work this issue, and then we can move this forward. So that's the key points that I like to leave you guys with. So one is that ultra-fast charging, the technology is there. The other one is the ubiquitous infrastructure, and then it's an infrastructure and policy issue more rather than a technical issue. So the first one is technical issue. This is policy and infrastructure issue. So with all the path is clear for us to actually do the 100% electric vehicle. So I think I'm almost there. So I just a couple of minutes. I don't know, Sherry or Scott. I can stop here. I can just finish up my charge, maybe 5 more minutes.
Why don't you just finish up 5 minutes?
Okay, let me finish in 5 minutes and we're done. So you can see the ubiquity, the writings on the wall. So you look at this one. This is, you can see if you look at the 7 charge, you look at the color scheme. So clearly it tells you this is done by 7-Eleven. As you know, 7-Eleven is a traditional convenience store, but they also operate gas stations. So you can see they actually realize the writings on the wall. So they're actually working on chargers too. So and I mentioned that the other vendors, Tesla, a couple of months ago announced their plan to have a 1 megawatts charging station. They say probably by mid-26 they should have it. I don't know if there are any updates. Then also the Europeans, they have their similar efforts, and so I don't have to go through the details for ultra-fast charging. And then this is a very interesting idea for ubiquitous charging. For instance, for every road lamps, right? If you just in the city would just provide a wire, for people when you park on the curbside, then if people can plug in, then you can charge, trickle charge, a low rate charge or trickle charge. So this it's really simple, easy to do, and does not require too much investment. Of course, you have to deal with the vandalism and all that stuff. That's a different issue. So you can see that this, this is the future. Future is clear. So you can see in the Chinese market, there's a battery swap operation. Then this one actually can swap the battery in 5 minutes. So that's another approach. But you can see, I don't know, my personal belief, this probably has, the future remains to be seen for this technology, particularly if ultra fast charging can actually be scaled up. Okay. Because this one, there are way too many moving parts to move this thing. Then you can see the maintenance, the cost probably will be prohibitive. And of course, if you run a large company with thousands of fleet, maybe makes sense. I don't know. So then another thing is that if we want to do a fully autonomous electric vehicle, and then the question would be, how do we charge them, right? So that's when the wireless charging for this particular application, I personally believe, has a future. And then this is, by the Oculus demonstration, 300 kilowatts demo. So this is for those of us in power electronics. It's, 1 megawatts is not we can easily do 1 megawatts wireless charging too. So this is the 500 kilowatts, so we can do 1 megawatts too. So the currently is holding back the wireless charging is that there's a safety issue here, and because if the two plates is misaligned, so as we all know, the leakage field can be really strong and really large, and not only reduce the efficiency and that's an economic issue, then more of it's a safety issue. But I believe that if we want to say eventually the vision is the autonomous vehicle, say for instance, car will drive me to work. And at the gate of the building, I get off, get my bag, I push a button, park the car. Then we'll park the car. And then when the car parked there, and then the wireless plate will automatically, or you push the button, will automatically come up to touch your battery and then to charge your car. And then in the afternoon, you need the car, you push a button, they will come up to pick you up and then fully charge. So if you're in that scenario, and then the wireless charging does have a future, so that needs to work. So that's I think that many groups are working on the safety issue and the related issue. So I'm actually optimistic that this actually one day will be scalable. So first of all, it has to demonstrate pilot runs on the market first. So this actually, and particularly for the ports, you can see that this is a picture I presented a couple of years ago. Okay, you can see in Long Beach, this is actually happening. Okay, so then I think this electrification actually steady progress, bright future. I mentioned that, and then you can see. So this pie shows you the transportation consumes about 35%. Percent of the total energy. Within the 35%, 39% of them, as is shown here, belongs to passenger cars. And then I believe we are in the process of conquering this piece of pie. And then we are currently moving into the medium and heavy trucks. It's not too small, 23%. And then shipping, 11%, aviation. And you can see with you counterclockwise circling, and then the energy requirements significantly higher and much harder to do. And then the same challenge exists for electrical airplanes, semi-trucks, ports, and agriculture, because agriculture usually needs a lot of high power. And then, so for the airplanes, there are companies actually piloting so like 12-seater or 6 regional jets with a propellant. Because that's current battery technology actually makes that feasible. So they are piloting that attached. So Tesla said they have actually already has a product on its way for semi. So we'll see the challenge will continue. So No, okay, this is something else. I think I'm over on my time. So I think I will stop here, Sherry, and if I have any questions, I can answer them. So thank you all.
So this is the end of our talks, and if you can move to next hall, we will start to have enjoy some French pastry and chicken stew, and give award. Then we have a happy ending, happy time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, Sherry and Scott, and for your work. Yeah. We'll see you guys soon.
We did it. Oh my goodness, can't believe that worked.
Without you, I don't know what to do.